All right, I'm going to begin right here on my left. For no reason except the fact that he's the one closest to me. It's not because I love Italy or I'm having an affair with Italy as a country. As a country, people, as a country. Oi, 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 these bankers. Okay, Jimmy, benvenuto.
Grazie.
Tell us a little bit about your business in the sense of what some of the challenges have been that you've faced and how you've had to work to overcome them. Because particularly in the food industry, it's not the easiest of spaces to work with, let alone some of the people that you're having to work with.
Products, there is not enough products in this country where people, consumer, have a right to choose what they want on the shelves, on the supermarket, for example. We go into the supermarkets, we find the two products. When you go to America, you go to Europe, you find the 20 products on the same items, like a bottle of water. In South Africa, you find the 3 bottles of water. So it's really, really difficult. Monopoly in this country is pretty big, I would say. I think we need a space for company to come inside and give more products, more competition, better price. And South Africa is very expensive. Supermarket, I'm sure you know, you go to the supermarket every day, you come out with a little bag with 500 rand. It's really, really expensive. And the problem is there is not enough product in South Africa. So I imported the product from Italy directly, and we supply pizza base with major supermarkets, Spar, we got a Pick and Pay, we got ShopRite. So now, when you look at on the pizza side, I'm talking about my product, for 15 years, there used to be only one product called the Ital Pizza, just to mention the name. So now, we started slowly to see now the 2 extra products. One comes from Germany, one comes from Italy. So we're giving the consumer the choice to decide how much money they want to spend and what product they want, and what we have in Italy for the last 20 years, for example.
So Jimmy, as you're trying to do that, and I think many people can relate to that challenge that of having choice in this store.
Correct.
When you were trying to grow your business, what were some of the things that you found most difficult, apart from the fact that people were reluctant to let go of that monopolistic space?
Yeah, it was the buyers. The most difficult part of the fund is dealing with the buyers. First of all, find a man that has been sitting in the chairs for 50 years, does not understand the future, doesn't understand the technology. Frozen food, guys, frozen food, it's better than a fresh. People still don't know that the frozen food, it's more healthy, it's more controlled with the right certification. To let understand that the frozen, and also buyers sitting there, they only see one line, and they're thinking, no, it's not going to work because your product comes from Italy, it's more expensive. So we needed people with a different mentality sitting in their chairs when they buy a product to understand the kids, the new generation, what they're eating. Internet, check her out. Old people, they don't know much about this situation in the markets.
What about...
Unfortunately, yeah.
But there are no old people in the room, so nobody can relate.
Yeah, but that's, yeah.
Old people, okay. Sorry, I'll just move
senior
right along.
People, let me rephrase it, senior. Okay, sorry.
It's okay, Jimmy. In terms of money, what have been some of the issues that you've had in that space?
In the sense of...
getting financing. Has that been an easy process? Has that
No, it's not been easy. Look at today, to open a company is not easy. Let's put it that way. When the bank says, that's the truth, when they say you start to only see a company after 3 years or 4 years, and then you're going to survive, that's the truth. If the first 2 years you need the money from the bank, you're not going to carry on your business. You'll have to try to carry on for at least 3 years, and then slowly start to ask money to the bank. And that's one of the major problems around the world. People are closing down, I think, 70–80% of the business in the first 3 years. And that's the reality. So I think you got to do a really feasibility of your product. You got to understand, you got to do a business plan of your company. You need to have a forecast. You really need to study your company and understand if the product is going to work or not. That's the first things. And then bank, look, a bank is not easy, baby. Before they give you money, it's really difficult. However, it's understandable since the Credit Act that came in 2000, where it was about 2000, there was a lot of debts. People had a lot of debts in this country. They had to come back with this money. Today, getting money out of the bank is really difficult. Although your company does well, but still, they require a lot of one-to-one. You need to put them, that's the truth. And,
Philip, I think you've got, how many people working? Was it 6, 8?
80 people.
80, yeah. Okay. And Jimmy?
8.
8.
Yes.
Okay, so 8, 80, and 15. Okay. quite a broad spectrum in terms of the kind of turnover we are seeing, in terms of the kind of activities. But equally, you know, penetration is always the common mantra when it comes to frustrations that entrepreneurs have, Pavlo. But give us a little bit of sense, looking more broadly, what is it the challenges that entrepreneurs today are battling the most with?
There are a couple of things that have come out for me over here. With the work that we do, we work as a business incubator. We work across 3 stages of a business development life cycle. And the one thing that is unavoidable is for any business to go through a life cycle, its stages of life cycle growth. So in the startup areas, I don't believe that banks should be involved there other than on a transactional level, quite honestly, because to lend into the startup space is incredibly risky and quite frankly, it's foolish. Typically, it takes an entrepreneur 2 or 3 goes before they find themselves. And when they find themselves, they find their businesses. So a business plan which can talk, I think, who was talking about it's about vision. A business plan can talk about a fantastic vision, but until that's implemented and you can see signs of that vision being demonstrated, it's not a place where banks should play from a lending point of view at all. And I think that's where South Africa fails us, because we're in such a nascent phase of our business development environment. We don't have the angel funders who should take those risks, or the small VCs, the very early stage VCs. We haven't developed that market yet. It's busy developing. So once you go through that startup phase, your main function over there, which all of these businesses has achieved, is to find out what business are you in. In other words, in startup businesses, because we're desperate for cash flow, we will chase anything that comes our way. And when you try and be everything to everyone, you'll end up being nothing to anyone. And the small business space is becoming increasingly more and more competitive. When we get into the next phase, which is the build phase, and I think, Jimmy, that's going to be your biggest challenge. I mean, all of a sudden, 2 years ago, how many chain stores were you supplying?
What about 2 chains?
2 chains, and now you're supplying 4 chains.
Yes.
And you've grown into the 2 biggest chains in the country.
Correct.
So the capacity in that business is going to take enormous pressure and enormous strain.
Yeah.
And from a lending point of view, if a bank doesn't step in to help Jimmy capacitate that, then he's going to have problems. And this is where the challenge comes in. Because he's dealing in the retail sector, people in the retail sector are buying your supply chain. And then when they buy your supply chain, they're buying it on margins that are paper thin. So if you come in with the view to securitize the contracts that Jimmy gets, your interest rates have to be super competitive, otherwise there's nothing in it for him. And he will stay in a quandary for a very, very long time, because to grow that business organically is incredibly hard. The margins are so thin.
Yep, correct.
He's got to capitalize on this pick and pay deal that he's got, because that's a game changer for him. So that's another big trend from a funding point of view.
If we had to look at things that specifically you would want to see from your bank to help you grow in the way that you want to grow, what would they be?
I think I'm the lucky one, because really I've been very fortunate with Nedbank. Since we opened the company and they came on board with us, they've always been for us, especially from the Forex point of view. Forex is one of the most difficult part in the business, and I'm sure you guys know. And with the Nedbank has been really the experience that we had it, and I wish everyone had the experience that I had in my company with Nedbank. And also, okay, all the banks sometimes are the same, but the person in charge of your company, she understands our company. She comes to our office. She understands who we are, who I am as a managing director. She understands my product. She understands what we do, and that's made a big difference in our company. And as far as concerned, I've been very lucky. And the lady, Rebecca, she is my bank manager. I don't know if she's here, I don't think so. But she's been really fantastic. She understands the company. And I can't ask her more than that. When we ask her for money, we got money.
Okay, so you need to talk to Philip.
Yeah, well, not that easy. Well, they give you money, of course, there is a certain things they require, and surety, you know, all the normal things. You know, but they've always been there for us when we ask. We didn't ask for 10 million, but I must be honest, we've been very lucky with Nedbank, and the profession that they are is really, I wish all the bank was like Nedbank, I promise. Because I was with FNB, so I moved to Nedbank.
Gosh, you guys... So they found all the entrepreneurs that are really, really happy with Nedbank, and then they're like, so what are your challenges? We don't have any.
No, we do have a challenge in the market, and the business is for not with the banks.
I'm teasing.
And on my side, I can say just, you know, to all the manager, try to understand your client, try to understand their business, as Pablo says. You know, really try to look at it, go to his office, understand what he's doing, understand the clientele, understand what he's doing, projects, cash flow projection, business plan. Try to spend more time sometimes, you know, it's really bad when they say, Pablo, you go to the bank and tell you, no, sorry, we can't. It's really, maybe if you spend more time into the company and you try to look at it 360 degrees, and maybe you'll see a light somewhere and say, maybe it's an opportunity to help the guy. And that's as important that you got. As I say, I've been very lucky. You know, I'm maybe one of those lucky guys that the Net Bank took me when we were very small. And we increased from 300,000 to 4 million to 6 to 20 million in 3 years. So NetBank was there for us to help us out. And I was one of the lucky. But I was fortunate to have a lady where she really understood the company, and she saw far away where we were going. And I hope all of you will think like this and try to look a little bit one step forward and try to look a little bit behind the line. And that's my view.
So, there's been a lot of talk about the relationship that you have with your current bankers and how critical that has been in terms of the growth of any business, and we understand that. But the thing that I want to ask you, which I think one of you alluded to earlier on, is the shortage of skills. We face the same kind of situation in the banking sector. We all are vying for these competent people, and everybody is jostling and paying big bucks and whatever.
Correct.
In terms of our ability for us to actually maintain that relationship, because we're going to have people leaving the business. So that's, I know it's a big annoyance from a client point of view. How do we transition that? How do we make that easier for you in terms of relationship building and making sure that at the end of the day, it doesn't seem like you're starting from scratch?
I think it's simple. It's not that difficult. I mean, if I deal with the person for 5 years or 6 years and then she leaves, the big boss, they must do exactly what she done with us from the beginning. She must come to the office. She must spend time with us. We need to give her our feedback and our history with the other bank manager, because at the end of the day, the institution bank is always the same. The person's changes, so it shouldn't be different. So we have a new person. She must come to the office, understand exactly what we do, like the previous manager. It cannot be different. You understand that? Because the institution, the bank is always the same, Net Bank.
Can I just add to that? Because you know that I bank with Net Bank, and that is indeed.
Did you?
I do. Oh, why don't you believe me? I do. And one of my biggest frustrations is exactly what you indicate, the fact that, and I always wondered, do people not have a conversation before the one leaves?
Correct.
Is there no process where the one says, I'm leaving, this is Tumi Makgabo, this is what she looks like, before I even get to the point where I need to have a presence in her office? Doesn't that happen? I don't know, I'm asking, because I'm just the client. I think that would be a very useful thing if it's not happening, or perhaps intensifying it to assist bridging that process.
I was in Pretoria and wanted to tell. I remember that one of the big boss, Garrett, I think it was, you know, we were sitting there and he would say those words, you know, I don't know if you see us somewhere sitting over there. And you know, what he said in the day actually made me feel good, because he said, we were changing the way banks dealt in the last 15 years, which means now we're taking people and send it to your office to understand your business, which never before. And it really happened, and that's made a big difference in my business. I'm sure it will make a difference to any company. You know, but if you sit in the office and Net Bank and you buy phone, you try to understand it, it's never gonna happen. So there needs to be more relation between the bank, the regional manager, and the company to understand the business. That's the only way. I don't want to say because Pretoria can be another region, but if you keep going the way he said today, we just want to be into your office, not you coming to our office, we coming to you, and that's will make a big difference. I can tell you guys, it will make a difference to your clients, because it made a difference to me.
Jimmy, Philip, Marcel, Hilton, Pablo, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
I'm Tumi
you.
Makgabo.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you very much. A really nice meeting you.
Okay.
Thanks, Tumi.
Thank you very
Very
much.
nice.
Thank you.